Hello and welcome back to SirKentSaid.com. Well, fam, I have been waiting for this one. I wanted to talk about Shogun. Shogun is a adaptation on a 1975 novel by James Clavell. It ran for over the course of 5 nights, originally on NBC back in 1980. This is a modern retelling of that story. When famous actor Hiroyuki Sanada heard about them doing a modern, updated version of this novel, he wanted to be a part of it. He wanted to play the lead role of Yoshi Toranaga, and they said, "Cool, come on over. We'll we'll put you in the role." And then he showed up and he started going over lines and he started talking to people, and they had a better idea for him. They said, "Hey, yo, we don't want no Steven Seagals. We don't want no David Carradines showing up and showing the Japanese how to do martial arts better than the Japanese. So we've got an offer for you. Why don't you take a role as a producer and lead actor and show us how to do this series correctly?" He jumped at the opportunity and he proceeded to bring actors over from Japan. He suggested people. He brought in people to show them how to move correctly, how to move in a kimono correctly. Of course, there's combat training and little gestures and traditions that people, unless you know, wouldn't pick up on. But no matter how mute it was, he wanted it done correctly. So that way, he and the people he suggested, the crew, they breathe a certain amount of authenticity and realism, and it made this series or makes this series stand uh, heads above anything else that is told from this time period on a mini series level for television. Sonato also wanted to make the actors feel comfortable while they were here, especially the ones that he brought over from Japan. So not only was he doing lead acting, not only was he producing, but if these guys wanted a double whopper with cheese and bacon and jalapeno, he ran out and got it. That's how many hats he wore doing this role, and it shows in the finished product. So he really wanted them to walk on the same path of this whole American stardom thing that he has, and he wanted to be their guide. So that was very cool of him. In a lot of ways, this will remind you of his role in The Last Samurai with Tom Cruise. But he is the lead in it this time. Shogun stars Hiroki goddammit, Sanada as Yoshi Toranaga, Cosmo Jarvis as John Blackthorne, fine ass Anasawa as Toto Mariko, and Tanoba Asana as Kashigi Yobishi. Yeah, I fucked that all up. Use IMDb. That's what I'm doing. Anyway, the story revolves around 16th century feudal Japan when the emperor passes, leaving his son, who was too young to lead, as the future emperor. Japan at the time is split up into 5 different areas. four out of the five emperors, kings, whatever you want to call them, of the area band together and pretty much gang up on Toranaga because if push comes to shove or somebody assassinates the son, he would become an emperor, and they can't have that. It's further complicated by the fact that the Portuguese and the Spanish have set their sights on splitting Japan up as well. Like most colonizers, they started with the simple plan of trade, but infected the people with their religion and tried to assimilate them into their ways. They believe that it is their God given right to lay claim to any land they find. Kind of sounds familiar, don't it? Even though CG making up a lot of the background, it is still beautiful to see because the cast is so dedicated to the authenticity of the storytelling of the series. Um, I even appreciate, even though it's a bit of a pain, that they're all speaking Japanese. There are subtitles that you're going to have to read your way through it, but it's totally worth it. Um, this series is directed, produced, cast, and acted by people who truly give a flying fuck about their product. And it shows in everything they do. I honestly enjoy this series thus far, probably better than I did Doom 2, excuse me. And this, so usually I would wait until the end of the series. I've only seen two episodes like everybody else, but just from what I've seen right now, I'm I'm giving this a 10. And the reason it wins a 10 compared to the 9 that I gave to 2, even with lack of titties, is probably because of, yeah, when people get cut, they bleed, so that PG-13 costs you do. So, yeah, those are my thoughts. I highly, highly, highly recommend you get into this on FX or if you have it on Hulu. And yeah, those are my thoughts. And I'll see you on the other side.